welcome back to the all new, all different number one comics podcast. We are back with another bonus episode. And of course, we have Nick P here with us. Nick, what is up? Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me again.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me again. It was really fun last time. I'm looking forward to the comic we're doing today.
Yeah, me too. I was honestly like a little scared to read this one. Like I grabbed like everything. So like every week, like I grabbed like, everything that I'm reading, then every new number one and all of that. So I picked it up and I was like, I don't know if I'm actually going to read this, but I'm happy that I did. But yeah, man, I'm happy that you're back. Happy that we're able to do this bonus episode. And I was just telling you, I had to like keep postponing today, which sucked. I completely forgot I was going to a convention tomorrow. And then I get a text from my friend and he was like, hey, we're wrong about the date. It's actually today. I was like, oh, yeah, I was on completely the other side of town. And I was like, okay, I got to get there for a minute because I don't know about you. I don't know if you have any books that like, you just have to grab like anytime you see them. But if it's a raw copy of Ultimate Fallout 4, I have to grab it. So
God. Oh, you're just like that. Like, I'm just going to grab this real quick.
Yeah, so I got an Ultimate Fallout 4. I got one of the Zatanna 16s, and then I got a copy of Wolverine 88. So stoked with my pickups today. But yeah, sorry to have to run around for that. But.
Yeah, no worries. I can't believe you went to a convention and got out in the time that you did. I would be stuck there for days.
Oh yeah, it was rough. I was like, all right, don't look at anything. Just put the blinders on, grab this, and go. But
for me, there's like really cheap comics that I always grab when I see them in raw format, like the Justice League 1 where they're all like standing in the front cover.
Oh yeah, that's an awesome cover.
And I just every time I see that and it's like $10 or $15 or what, I'm like, yeah, I'll grab it. I have like 5 of those.
That's awesome. I have the same problem with Harbinger #1, like the old Valiant book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, there's like a few books like that. I just have like long boxes of it. I'm like, what am I ever going to do with this? But whatever, just fun stuff. Well, anyways, let's get in. Let's talk about the Schlub. I want to read the synopsis really quick from the Image site. Sorry, I was going to say Marvel there, but it's definitely not a Marvel book. So yeah, from the Image site, it reads, Vanished artist and writer Ryan Stegman and Superboy writer Kenny Porter team up with Beef Bros artist Tyrell Cannon for a new action comedy series featuring colors by Mike Spicer and lettering and design by John Hill. Failing dentist Roger Dalton blames the world for his problems until he is body swapped with the world's greatest superhero. Can Roger save Earth and finally prove to his family that he's not a loser, or are we all doomed? So pretty good synopsis, pretty spot on. Just a couple of sentences there, but definitely captures the vibe of this book. What do you know about the creators? Of course, Ryan Stegman, huge name in comics right now, doing, like they said on that synopsis, Vanish. But of course, he was doing Venom before with Donny Cates, did Scarlet Spider, Superior Spider-Man, Absolute Carnage, King in Black. He's done a whole bunch of stuff.
Superior Spider-Man, one of my favorite. It's controversial, but one of my favorite runs like ever. I love that run. It's just one of those like things that I binged when it came out, and it was like it kind of got me back into comics because I thought it was so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Ryan Stegman's art is just phenomenal. I love the way he draws Spider-Man. He's like one of my favorite Spider-Man artists. His Venom with Donny Cates, fantastic run through and through. I thought that was an amazing run. And him and Donny Cates are like a great duo. I think that I always like used to watch them on when they did like Stegman and Friends, and it was like they used to do podcasts together. So I used to always like tune in for that. But yeah, this I'm familiar with Ryan Stegman. I'm not familiar with Tyrell Cannon as much, the artist, but you could tell that an artist wrote this.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't think that he was a writer at all.
Yeah, I know he had to jump on and do, what was it? Of course, Vanish, because Donny Cates had some stuff, like a lot of stuff going on recently. I think I'm pretty sure he got divorced, and then he got in a bad car accident. Actually, it was revealed at San Diego Comic-Con that he got in like a really bad accident and couldn't remember like the last 6 months of his life and stuff. So those books were ongoing, Vanish and Hulk and everything. And I think Stegman had to jump in and write and illustrate. So
yeah, he did the end of Hulk.
Yeah,
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, pretty crazy. but yeah, so obviously he's flexing that like writing muscle. So I guess, you know, he was like, well, let me go on and do some more stuff. Kenny Porter, the co-creator of this, along with Ryan Stegman, has done like a lot of stuff over at DC Mag, Superboy, Man of Tomorrow, Flash, Fastest Man Alive, Batman Urban Legend, just a whole bunch of like mini series basically over at DC. Not really seeing anything like too like ongoing that he's worked on, but pretty predominant over there at DC lately. And then Tyrell Cannon has done stuff, just not stuff that I'm super familiar with, other than Murder Falcon. I don't know if you remember Murder Falcon.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which you could see some of that art like bleed over a little bit, I think. But yeah, he's done Astrobiology, Iris, The Ghost Fleet, The Paybacks, Murder Falcon, like I said. And I guess he did some work, probably just a cover or something for Do a Power Bomb, if you remember that book. I loved that book a lot. But yeah, it must have just been some cover art or something on that. But yeah, really, really interesting team up with these creators, and to see Ryan Stegman co-writing with somebody else is a little interesting to me, but still really cool. I want to go over my synopsis of the book that I wrote up. I'll try to keep this one like a little shorter than normal, but it's still. I say that every time, and they're a little long-winded. But the Schlub opens with a full-page panel of dentist Roger Dalton as he's working on a patient's mouth, and he tries to convince his ex-wife to go to dinner with him. Roger works on his patient as a billboard of his brother and father's business is being put up across of his office window, and a huge superhero fight is taking place nearby. As the building shakes, the hero and villain burst through the wall in battle. We learn that the hero Circus, sorry, I don't know how to say that. I'm going to go with Cirrus, but and villain Worm are fighting over a powerful relic. It slips from Cirrus's hands, and Roger picks it up. When he presses the button, he and Cirrus swap bodies. Lots of panels happen of them kind of fighting while Cirrus tries to train Roger in the new body. And then the two agree to work together. And at the end, Roger shows his true intentions as he uses his laser eyes to burn through his father and brother's billboard and says that it's payback time. So pretty focused story. Just, you know, really takes place in that one location in the dentist's office, and then like out on the streets and right there, and that's it. Really interesting story. Like this one is reminding me so much of like a 90s comic. I don't know about you, but like I just felt like I was reading something from the 90s. I was talking about Valiant a minute ago, or like those really oversaturated like DC or Marvel books from the 90s that just have so much dialogue in them. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and kind of like the story almost reminded me of something that would come out in the 90s as well. I think the take that they have on it that's a little bit unique here is the fact that, you know, Roger's kind of like a loser and nobody likes him. I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but I swear I've read stories where, you know, there's been some kind of swap where like the everyday guy becomes a superhero instead or whatever. But this is like a different, unique take on it.
Right. Yeah. I definitely agree with the 90s sentiment. Yeah. the over the topness, but like the whole thing just like brimming with like crazy art going on. The whole thing. And I'm just like, wow, you can tell that when I said you could tell that a writer or the writer was an artist, it's because there's very specific panels in the way that they're laid out that you're like, oh, Stegman wanted this. Or like he definitely said like, hey, we want this fast paced with like 7 panels in one page or something like that. But yeah, with the story in general, really liked it. I thought it was great. It is that trope of this ordinary guy turning into a superhero. How is he gonna like deal with the newfound powers, that type of thing? But I really liked like the superhero, the costume design of the superhero isn't anything too crazy, but I love the villains.
The villain looks really cool.
The villain's look is amazing. He's like Dhalsim mixed with like the guy from Mad Max with the mask on. I forgot that guy's name.
Oh god,
but super cool, like super cool outfit that he has on, and all the things that they put on him. But yeah, this whole story, I thought it was great from beginning to end. The one thing that I'm not sure about is the main character, because you have to like your main character in order to want to keep reading. And I don't really like him that much. He's kind of like it's okay. The first panel on the first page says, "This is Roger Dalton. He sucks." And it's just like, that made me chuckle. But I was like, by the end of it, I was like, wow, he does suck. Like, I don't really like this guy. He's not really like, there's no redeeming qualities really about him.
Yeah, he's not really likable. And I wonder some of the stuff that they introduce as well. They of course talk about, or he talks, he's trying to basically get back together with his ex-wife or go out to dinner with her. And so they're setting something up there, I think. And then I can't remember the character's name now, but the lady who was like painting the wall, I guess in the office, in the dentist's office or whatever, that she puts up with more than she should, but she's kind of happy to, or whatever. Just a interesting setup, like interesting threads that they throw out here in this book. And then of course that ending where he says he's going to work together with the superhero. And then, it's basically like, well, now it's payback time. I kind of like it. I feel like, maybe we're getting like that kind of deconstructed, like here's this villain or whatever. Here's the backstory type of thing. But I think that this is planned to be a 5-issue, I think 4 or 5 issue, one of the two. And I'm really interested to see like where they go with it. Yeah, 4 issues. Okay, so it's supposed to wrap up at the end of November. But yeah, there's definitely some like Easter eggs being laid in this, and I wonder what they're going to become.
Yeah, and when I say that he sucks, it's basically like, will he become the guy that you root for?
Yeah.
Or will he be just the schlub, and will he suck still by the end of it? Like, he won't learn anything at all. Or will he have that arc of, he sucks, he doesn't know like how to like handle relationships, he has a failing business, and then he somehow overcomes these things and learns how to be a better human being by the end of it, which in 4 issues is, you're saying it's 4 issues. That's kind of like a huge arc he has to do in the next 2 issues, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Or it's wrapped up.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm getting the impression that he's probably going to continue to be a shitty guy. And this, we were talking about towards the beginning, we were talking about Donny Cates working with Ryan Stegman. So this is their like imprint, Kids Love Chains. So if you look at the cover there, it's got the KLC press. That's Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman's imprint. And yeah, I just always imagine that stuff to be like a little bit darker, of course, coming from like, the mind of Donny Cates and then Ryan Stegman working with him and everything. I just assume that it's going to have like a little bit of a darker tone to it whenever I see that logo on something. So,
okay, that's a good observation, because the Kids Love Chains things is like their 90s, bringing back the 90s type thing, right? Because there were so many chains back in the 90s comics.
Definitely, yeah, lots of chains. And I mean, hell, the kids are wearing chain wallets again now.
Maybe over where you live. I don't know if I see any kids wearing chains where I live.
Really? Yeah. Over here, man, the whole thing, like, I mean, baggy pants are like back in, and like,
oh, really?
Yeah, like I'm even seeing some people like going on eBay and paying like hundreds of dollars for like a pair of Jinkos and stuff like that. If you remember that type of thing.
Oh yeah. Oh, actually, I saw a pair of DVSs the other day, and that's maybe you're right. The Etnies, the DVSs are coming back.
Exactly. See, I'm blaming. I'm not blaming Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman, but they're definitely contributing. So
they're not helping.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, this is fun. I'm with you. Like, I really like this story, and I think that it's fun. I agree with you. I think that it's going to be very hard to connect. So they're going to have to tell the story like in a different way. Like, who are we supposed to connect to? Like, what are we supposed to feel here? Or are we just watching, this like becoming of like a madman, super villain or whatever?
Yeah, that would be. I was going for the arc, like, oh, of course he's going to try. He's probably going to be a better guy by the end of it, because usually that's what you aim for. You want someone to connect to. You want someone to empathize with, or else why are you reading this thing that you hate? You know what I mean? But it would be kind of a cool turn if they just said, this is what would happen if someone got superpowers and they sucked the entire time. And they started destroying things and they didn't really care. Because at the end, the last panel is him. Can I like spoilers or whatever?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he takes his laser beam eyes and shoots them into his brother's face in the advertisement that they put up across from his dentist office, and he sets the whole thing on fire, and he's smiling. So it's like, whoa, like he doesn't seem to care, like
no,
at
not
all.
at
Like,
all.
he's
And
destroying things.
yeah, and that's definitely like his last word balloon too. Is like, it's payback time or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
And it's like, what did his brother do? He was successful.
Yeah, I guess it just looks like he got the the better end of the deal. Like he looks thin. He's got a full head of hair. He's like proud with his dad on the billboard there and everything. And this guy, this guy doesn't look like he's got all that. So
it could be. Well, he had a wife, which they definitely made into like she's not bad looking.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So like, and he's trying to get back with her, but it's like she's kind of like, I don't really like you're not the best. Like if you're this kind of like a schlub guy, you at least have to have some redeeming qualities about you. Like you have to be funny or smart or like, you know what I mean? So that's another thing that we'll probably see later on is him and his wife. Maybe there'll be an arc there. I don't know. Well, we'll see. And that was his wife painting, right? Or his ex-wife?
Yeah. Now that you say that, yes, thank you. Because I was, I like for a minute, I was like, is this some kind of like a, assistant or somebody who works at the dentist office? But yeah, it makes a lot more sense that it would be his wife. I was a little confused when I first cracked open the book and I was like, he's talking to his wife. There's like dialogue of him and his wife talking, but like I don't see anyone anywhere. So I definitely was a little confused as to what was going on. But
oh yeah, she has an ear piece in, like an AirPod, and she's talking to him on the phone, and that's when she goes, "Roger, are you with a patient right now? Because there's someone that's screaming."
Yes. Okay.
Patient's like, "You're hurting me" or whatever, and she's like, "Are you with a patient?"
Okay. Yeah, I definitely let all that go over my head, but this is like. I think the tone of the storytelling along with this illustration style, like, and definitely the colors, like, again, I'm getting those 90s vibes. Like I'm going to keep echoing, what I'm saying about the 90s here, but like, it just seems so packed in and so like gritty looking or whatever. Like it's just, it's really reminding me of like a 90s thing. And I guess the feeling that I'm getting is it wouldn't be looking so gritty and all of that if it was going to turned out to be like a more polished arc by the end, but hey, I could absolutely be wrong. And I think that would be cool. That would be a fun like arc to tell if within the 4 issues he becomes like kind of the reliable, like the good guy who makes the right decisions and uses the powers for good and all of that. I guess it's completely wide open. It could go either way.
Yeah, and it's now that the 90s thing, I'm looking through the panels right now. Definitely Saturday morning cartoon.
Oh, yeah,
definitely sure. Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go. Like Ren and
gross
Stimpy.
Outness.
Yeah, you got some like, I don't know, maybe like Rugrats, Angry Beavers. There's like this like grittiness to it. Like
there you go.
You see the hair on Roger's arms and stuff like that. Just stuff that is kind of important to point out in that gross out type of humor or whatever. So
yeah, and we can't talk enough about this guy's art. It's so good. Like the big splash pages are like incredible. Like when the villain and the superhero are fighting and it's like the swirlingness and they're like coming into the foreground, the background's getting destroyed. And it's just like the attention to detail. He I don't know what else he's done, but I checked out his website and his art is just fantastic. Well, you said he did Murder Falcon, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, there you go. And he's phenomenal, and I'm looking out for him whenever something comes out with him, because it's just like the last comic we talked about when we talked about the Cull. It's like, wow, this art is like, there's some like really cool elements of art going on where it's last time it was fantastical. This one's very cartoony. So
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm a big fan of this style. Actually, I think that it's done really well, and I'm trying to remember who put it out now, but just a couple of years ago, there was like a Rocko's Modern Life book that was being put out. It was like a little ongoing, and the art is like kind of reminiscent of that. It was I really liked it a lot, and it's just like visually appealing. It's fun to look at, and obviously it's very nostalgic and everything too for me. But yeah, I think that this is a really good team up. I think that everybody working on this book together are a really good pairing. Down to the colors, the colorist is doing a smash up job on this. Like there's a lot of color injected into this, and like it kind of builds this whole world and gives it this kind of cool palette to work with. I'm really digging Stegman and Porter kind of scripting this and then sliding it over to the rest of them. I just kind of wonder like how that scripting process takes place whenever you have somebody who's already, scripted books like Ryan Stegman, and then they've got to work with somebody else to do that. I listened to an interview last night on This Week in Marvel. I don't know if you ever listened to that podcast or not, but they
no, I haven't actually listened to
okay. It's a really cool podcast. It's just, insider Marvel stuff, basically dealing with the comics. But Iman Vellani, I believe is her name, the actress who plays Kamala Khan in the MCU, is writing the Miss Marvel book. That's, I think it comes out this week. It comes out on Wednesday. So she's writing it, and then she's co-writing it with somebody else, and that makes sense because she's a brand new writer. She's never written a comic book before. It's like she understands the character obviously, and she's into comics. But as far as scripting a comic, and formatting it and everything, and giving notes to a illustrator, she's teamed up with somebody. So I wonder what the process is like for somebody like Ryan Stegman, who has so much experience, and also what was it, Kenny Porter, who seems to have plenty of experience as well. Like, I wonder why, they had to team up to do this versus just one of them.
I would really like to know how that process works. I was thinking about that as well. Did Stegman write it and then Kenny Porter fleshed out the actual like dialogue and words and stuff that was going on? Or is it like, hey, this should happen. Oh yeah. And this or were they riffing off of each other? And then, oh yeah, let's put this happening in the middle, and then let's do the ending like this. It's really interesting to like think about stuff like that. And I should probably go back because I think I stopped reading the Hulk at like issue 11 or 12. I have them all, but I was just like kind of like iffy on the story. So I was like, eh. So I'm trying. I think I'll go back and read those last couple issues to see how Stegman writes, because I don't know if anybody was helping him doing the Hulk.
I don't think so. I think that it was all him, and it didn't like fall off. It was still, it stayed pretty consistent to where it was. Like, I mean, I'm not going to lie and say it was the greatest thing ever, but I don't think that was his fault. I think the setup was not great. And then plus you're in between two great runs. The current Hulk run is amazing. And then Immortal Hulk was one of the best Hulk stories, in my opinion, other than like the Bruce Jones stuff. So yeah, it's got to be hard to be pocketed in between that, to have like a very mediocre run in between two really great runs.
Right.
But yeah, I believe, he was kind of on his own, unless the entire storyboard was scripted or whatever by Donny Cates, and then Ryan Stegman just kind of had to take the notes and work with them. I mean, I guess it could have been something like that as well, since it was just kind of a drastic drop off. Like, he didn't plan to not finish the arc. It just kind of happened. So,
right.
Yeah, could be very interesting to hear about whenever Donny Cates decides to, get back in the game and start talking about that stuff again. Hopefully we'll get some answers to some of that stuff, and hopefully he's doing okay. But yeah.
Yeah, I'd be interested to hear like an interview. I don't know if they've done interviews about this comic or anything like that, but I would be interested to know how their writing process works. I'm always interested in like how bands write songs, or how storybooking works with a certain person, or things like that, or what it, when they do the companions, or like the whatever with the comic book, it's like, oh, Alan Moore pretty much writes everything for everyone. This is exactly how I want it, and this is what you're doing, and he gets artists that can do that for him. So I wonder how it is with Stegman doing all the writing or half the writing, and then also saying, oh, and by the way, here's all the art too.
I drew this up for you. Do it in your own style, I guess. But
yeah. He's like, oh yeah. And by the way, this is a little off. Can you fix that? And like how you drew this, but yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be intimidating since you bring that up. To have to take cues from somebody who is like a really talented and pretty acclaimed artist, and then you're coming up with art for them. So yeah, that's got to be hard. Maybe he just completely stays away from it. And he's like, all right, I got the story aspect and the rest of it's yours, or whatever. But yeah, that would be really interesting to hear. I'm with you. Like, I love the peeking behind the curtain of how things get made and how stuff is going on. Especially like you said, bands writing songs or whatever, like, diaries from their tours and stuff like that. All that stuff's a lot of fun. Definitely whenever comic book creators come on and talk about their process, I try, like, every time I interview a creator, I try to have them pull back that curtain as much as possible, but they're, it's hit or miss. Like some of them don't say much, some of them kind of stick to their standard, like, well, I just work really hard and listen to music or whatever. And then some of them like go all in. I had Lonnie Nadler and Jenna Cha on a little while ago, who did the book The Sickness, if you remember that one, from Uncivilized. And
I actually haven't read that.
Okay. Oh, it's amazing. You definitely need to read it. It's such a cool book. But they came on and they were just like probably one of the coolest interviews I've ever done, because they just laid out every single aspect of everything that they had done. And they were very, very detailed, and it was so cool. And all the creators are great. We had Tyler Crook on a little while ago. He same thing with him. He's just very, very open about exactly how his process goes and everything. But I love hearing that stuff. And this is something, I'm with you. I'd really love to hear the backstory here. Love to hear how this came about, and like all the little side notes, about how the art worked and how the scripting and all that. So I think that would be really cool to hear about.
Right. Yeah. Let's. So for the whole story of this story, it's very well laid out. Mm-hmm. I thought the panel's amazing. When they do a splash panel, they really they squeeze every ounce of artisticness they can out of Tyrell Cannon. When they're doing fast-paced stuff, it looks fast-paced. When it's static and they have that gross out factor, when they have, everything was, I gotta say, it was really well done. The comedic aspects hit for me. I really liked the comedy aspects of this. So even when they're fighting in the, it's the classic, when they're fighting in the other room and the kid's sitting outside and they're scared because they hear all this stuff going on and they're next up to go into the dentist. I was laughing at that, and they're all she's with her father and she's shaking, and she's here's all this stuff going on in there. What is he going to do to me? I thought that was hilarious. There's a lot of good comedic aspects to this that really hit for me. Yeah,
likewise. I think that this really definitely worked, and the action comedy side of it, and definitely complemented with that artwork and everything. But yeah, it was scripted very well. Well, then you know what it comes down to, and I think that we already kind of have our answer. But you plan on picking up issue number 2 of this and checking that out? Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I do.
Yeah, likewise. I'll definitely be checking this out. It's only 4 issues, so I'm in for the long run. I want to see how this ends up, and I was really impressed with this first issue. So kudos to that whole team there, and the whole Kids Love Chains imprint over at Image, doing cool stuff. I hear a lot of cool stuff coming out of that, so I'm excited for the future of that imprint as well. So,
agreed.
Yeah, very cool stuff. Well, then that'll wrap it up. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening. Of course, you know where you can find us. I won't go over all the little stuff on a bonus episode here, but make sure to use that hashtag #AllNewAllDifferentNation on social media of your choice, and you can be entered in a giveaway to win a free comic book. And that's all. Nick, thank you so much. Have a good day, man.
Thank you once more for having me. I'll be there next time.
Awesome.